Hi, in this video we're going to look at what kind of businesses you can set up in the UK if you're applying for an Innovator visa or Startup visa. So before we start, I'm Tom Bradford. I'm a lawyer at a leading law firm in the UK. I'd be very happy to speak with you. If you're considering these visa routes, you can get in touch with me for a free consultation. The details for me are below. The best way to reach me is either send me a message on WhatsApp or you can drop me an email. So the main point I want to start with here is that there's a misconception about what kind of businesses you can set up in the UK under the Innovator visa or Startup visa. The main misconception is that you need to be a tech guy, a technology specialist. That's not the case. The expectation is that you're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs work on their businesses, not in their businesses. And so it's perfectly acceptable for you to be the business leader, whatever your background, and to be starting a business. Clearly, if you're not the technology expert yourself, then you'll need to have an advisory team or an employee or a vision for how you're going to deliver your business in the UK. But you don't need to be the tech person. The other misconception I want to highlight is that your business, because of the requirement for innovation, which I've spoken about in some of my other videos, you can check those out just down below, that the business has to be unprecedented. It has to be completely novel. There is a requirement that the business idea be a new one, but really it can be a new take on an existing business. So really, most of the clients that I'm servicing are setting up businesses within the digital or technology sectors. But most of them have a product that competes with other existing products. It's not completely new in that sense. And if you look at the main technology businesses, to take an extreme example, even Google, when it set up, there were various other search engine providers at the time. And the same applies to all of the other major successful technology platforms. They weren't completely unprecedented at the time they started. And there's no expectation under these visa routes that it be unprecedented. So let's have a look at some examples to make this more concrete. And the two key examples that I'm going to deal with, or the two categories that these businesses fall under, are one, online learning or e-learning. It's a huge and growing sector of the online economy. It's tripled over the last few years and is due to triple again by 2025. Some notable examples of online learning platforms are Udemy, Uthena, Stack Skills, and these big platforms have been successful in providing online learning courses, in other words, that people can download, which are basically previewed elsewhere on channels such as YouTube. So all of these are big platforms, but within that ecosystem there exist also smaller e-learning platforms, and indeed I have a couple of clients who've actually sold their e-learning platforms in other jurisdictions, and they've been bought up by some of the internet giants. Now, I mean, that's just these are just examples of how successful online platforms can be. They're all dependent on the content that you produce, and really, as probably with any business, the best way to go about it is to produce content in an area in which you have an interest, passion, or specialism. That's not to say that you need to be the online teacher. Again, most good entrepreneurs will work on their business as well as working in it. And so to work on the business, you're going to have to bring in and commission content in relation to your e-learning platform. But really, e-learning is broad, and it encompasses, or is capable of encompassing, many or any niches. including perhaps your area of expertise. So one of the businesses that you can consider developing under these visas is an online e-learning platform like these. The other area that I want to touch on is, and the other category that some of these businesses fall under, is software as a service, or SaaS products. Now, software as a service is, again, a massive and growing area of the economy and feature of our lives. I heard a friend the other day say to me that he thought anything that can be automated will be automated. That's the future. And I thought that was very poignant. It resonated with me, because what these software as a service products do is they automate many different areas of our lives and our businesses. There are all kinds of tools and apps that we use. Most of my clients under the Innovator visa and startup visas have an app of some kind. I mean, app is merely, one of perhaps many interfaces many people have, on kind of browser-based products. But software as a service, again, is an area that can be, or a type of business, if you like, that can be applied in any field. Now, some of the people that I speak to in relation to startup and innovator visas are not operating in the innovation economy. Broadly, what is the innovation economy? And that basically encompasses digital and tech, but there's also an overlap with science, with R&D. But essentially, if you have a traditional business, it's not to exclude the possibility, or you shouldn't exclude the possibility of these startup or innovative visas, because there may be innovative aspects of your existing business that could be utilized to qualify under these visa routes. Or you can develop a pivot your existing model and develop a software as a service product that's consistent with your expertise, experience, and current business model. And indeed, some of my clients are doing that. So I'll just give you some examples of software as a service. I mean, Canva, for example, is one of them, and that's in the area of graphic design. Now, you might think if you're a graphic designer, you wouldn't qualify under the innovator visa or startup visa. Well, that may or may not be the case. It depends on how innovative your business is. But Canva is one of the graphic design tools that you can use. Obviously, that's a huge business now, but again, there's a whole ecosystem around it, a whole range of competing and specialized products in particular areas of graphic design, which people can do online. Now, that's a B2C product, right? So it has the potential to scale, and that's important. Not to say that B2B businesses don't, but anything that accesses an international market is going to be capable of qualifying under the Innovator visa, or that area of the criteria under the Innovator visa. You've got to be able to show that you can access and scale to international markets. If you're simply operating in a traditional sector and doing local marketing, and you're not plugged into the online world, if you like, in any serious fashion, then you can't really hope in today's global economy to be able to access international markets and therefore qualify under these visa routes. But I'll just give you another example. Again, very specific examples in particular areas, but really any area you're in, I'm happy to speak with you to talk about whether you could qualify or develop something that would enable you to qualify. Another example, for example, a client I've got who's basically in the maritime sphere is developing a solution around a problem that exists with the with ships that require ships of different sizes that require basically regulatory audits or certain repeatable processes and reporting process, which lends itself to automation. And lo and behold, there are the beginnings of products, or products have been started to attempt to address this problem. So he's going to provide a better solution than what's currently on the market, and that is going to be through an app. So that's an example of something very specific, but there's a clear need for automation for processes, which lends itself to a scalable, innovative business product. Again, it's not completely unprecedented. It's new. It would be a new business idea. It is a new business idea, but it's not unprecedented in the sense that no one has ever thought about it. And again, I just repeat the point that that is not the expectation. In the innovation economy, you can have variations on existing ideas or existing products. But bear in mind that the innovation economy references definitely software as a service because of its scalability. If you're simply offering consultation type services, perhaps of the kind that I do as a lawyer, then it's not a scalable activity. I'm limited by the number of hours that I have in the day, as and so my service is linked to my time. And lawyers, in fact, operate in that perhaps rather old-fashioned way now, that their billing and time, etc., is linked to the amount of time that they have available and that they give to you as a personal service. That's not the innovation economy. The innovation economy is about scalable products where your service can be scaled. And take the difference, for example, between a consultant like me or an accountant, having a consultation, and just to switch back to the online learning idea, and an online course. Now, an online course is available at all hours, and for as long as it's up and available online and is being marketed and people can access it. But your time is not scalable. And remember, one of the criteria under the Innovator and Startup visas is for scalability. It's got to be scalable. And this is what it's basically talking about. It's referring to, among other things, software as a service. Now, just to sort of stretch the boundaries of perhaps those definitions or of this analysis, one of my clients basically has a digital marketing agency, and they're qualifying under this route. But they do genuinely operate in a different way, and they do have services that are novel and are new within that sector. They have amongst their offering software products, so they're not limited again in the way that I was describing in terms of just delivering personal services, which really will not qualify in most cases. So look, I hope that's helpful as an explanation of what kinds of businesses could qualify, and I've given you some examples of businesses that could qualify under the Innovator and Startup visa routes. I have a free consultation service, and I'm very happy if you want to drop me an email or drop me a message on WhatsApp to talk with you, discuss your ideas, and see how I can help facilitate your objectives in the UK. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for your time.